1. We're live!
What? Who's behind you?
Charles! Yes. You're like a little angel on my shoulder. Look at you.
You need the devil on your other shoulder.
No, if
What
it's Charles,
is he the angel, or what do you
he
think?
would
The devil?
definitely be the angel.
You're probably right. He's way too nice to be the devil.
Way too nice. Uh-oh.
Oh,
I messed up, boss.
now you really are my helper.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Nope. I don't know how I trust that. Do you like me? Oh, yes, there you go. That makes me feel
Bye. We'll get this.
You're
we'll
too
get
short.
It. It's my thinking face. Kind of. Not really. Wait,
don't know where
I
to
don't
go.
like the ranges in the background, though.
Okay.
Oh, I can turn the bass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ta-da!
It's turning, like, all by itself.
Yes.
I'm not doing it.
Where are you going?
I don't know.
Hello! Help!
Help me. Oops, wrong way. Why does it go the opposite way? I want to angle the camera up and I have to push the little
That's
knob
because
down.
it's designed to be going that way. Ta-da!
So it's not a selfie stick. You're right, it is very dated.
It's not a selfie stick. It has a motor in it. The stick is just a stick. Good freaking morning.
Wait,
What?
that's like, what do they call those?
Your collar's all jacked up.
I know, I'm trying to fix it. Well, that's what you do when you first go live, is you gotta,
I know I gotta fix my name tag, but I don't have one.
good job.
My hat. I got my hat.
How are anybody supposed to know who you are?
No. It is kind of weird.
Okay.
Can we just go show a little bit of product?
Do it.
Just because I saw it. You do it.
No.
Yes, you gotta walk with it.
You're off today, so I'm
Exactly.
my own boss.
Well, I'm still here telling you what to do, but
No,
now
I don't
you
want to
gotta
do
walk with
it. I don't want to do it. That's bad. It'll go all over the place.
Here, you got a little shark fin on top of your head.
Yeah, I know. I did that on purpose.
Did you?
Kind of.
No, you didn't. All right, I just want to show us one thing.
Okay, do it.
Okay, I'm going this way. I'm going to do it. Well, first, hold on. Let's go this way. Uh-oh.
Are you messing it up?
Yeah, it was yelling at me. I gotta come over here and say hi to Rob. Rob, why do you have a balaloon?
I'm retired.
You're retiring. So
Retired. 27, baby.
sweet.
Shooting at the range every day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
So Rob, you guys all should. Whoop! I just hit the wrong button. I don't know what just happened there. Rob is leaving us and going on to bigger and better things.
There you go.
Which
There's
hiding
the devil
from
on
me.
your shoulder.
Yes, there's the
Oh,
devil on my shoulder for sure. So today's your last day, right?
Today's my last day.
Today's the last day. So you got to come in, pat Rob on the head, call him a sweet fragile thing, and tell
Crisp
him
high five.
crisp high five. That'll work too.
Crisp high five.
That'll work. So we'll still be seeing Rob around here, I'm sure.
We better.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, come in, say hi to Rob, and then kick him in the ass and tell him to get out of here. Come on, camera. So, kind of a, I don't know if I should say flash sale thing, but something that we're going to be throwing on sale today is these ProTac 1Ls. 350 lumen light. They're going to be 40% off. So, like, let's just say $45 out the door or something. $40, I don't know, somewhere around there. Great little light. I have the 2L version of this that I carry pretty much all the time, except I don't have it in my pocket right now, that I've had for a super long time. And I love it. And Liz and I were just talking about lumens, and I don't know if 350 is enough, and I think it's plenty for what.
Concealed carry.
Yeah, for concealed carry stuff, for what 99% of anybody would need it for, and it's very easy to carry in a pocket. All right, I just want to show this IWI rifle here. It's pretty cool. This Zion, man, this gimbal is not appreciative of me walking around. Very sharp looking rifle. And we often say whenever we have Zions in stock, which they're not easy to keep in stock, whenever we have Zions in stock, they move pretty quick because it's a hell of a rifle for a great price. That one right at $1,000, $1,099. We have standard Zions on the other side of what?
Brown thing.
Of the brown thing.
Of the shelving. It's on the side.
The shelf's not brown. I mean, I guess it's got some brown tones.
Oh man, we got a couple of. Look at this. Oh man, this one's even in my favorite pattern. I don't need another rifle. I don't need another rifle. Oh, look at this. They even have chocolate chip. That's freaking awesome. That's what that's called. Do you not know that?
I heard it the other day. I was
Oh, really?
laughing at that you all know your camo.
Yeah, the chocolate chip camo is freaking cool.
And you make fun of us girls for saying, oh, it's
Fuchsia?
sky blue.
Yeah. Get out of here.
taupe and
No,
stuff.
it's blue or purple or whatever. But here's a standard Zion for under $1,000. This is a hell of a rifle that you can get. So if you're looking for a new rifle, I would definitely consider one of those. Man, I really kind of want that multicam black.
Everybody can see the twinkle in your eye.
I have no need whatsoever for it, but it's definitely a want.
It's valid.
Definitely a want.
What else? Anything in the use case is pretty cool?
I don't know. Let's see.
And Bursa Thunder.
Bursa Thunder.
It's got gold accents.
The thunder from down under. Look at that thing. Gosh, you know what? I mean, this 380 thing. There's
that's
more
CC.
that P10C. That's more multicam black.
White on it already. Got an RMR on it.
I think I know, man. I think I know where that one come from.
I would venture to guess. Is it probably the same person that I'm thinking?
I believe so. I'm sure. That's a pretty cool gun, man. That's just done up for $1,200.
Sure, it runs just as well as it is beautiful.
Oh yeah, man, that's freaking tempting too.
Dang.
With the
Custom
RMR,
stippling? Or no?
I think that.
that's
No, it is. Yeah, custom stippled.
Man, it just fits together so nice. Like
Yeah, that's.
that's a nice looking. It's nice looking. I want to shoot it. And it's got a red dot on it.
I know a freaking RMR.
The only one in the case with a red dot.
Oh, hey, we're gonna talk about red dots. I think.
Are.
What the heck? I was gonna say something. Oh, I saw a comment about the Bursa. How can such a tiny gun be called a Thunder? It's barely a cap gun. That's because it's freaking hard to shoot. It's hard to control. I had a unfortunate conversation with a student in class on Tuesday who was a young lady who bought a... Where the hell did Elizabeth go? I'm just talking to myself, I guess. That's okay. I'm talking to you guys. Who had bought a SIG P238 in 380.
It's not that complicated.
And we had to have a conversation about how much money she spent on a nice gun that didn't work for her so well.
That's sad.
And that, I think you might have even, yeah, you did. You ended up helping her in the class with that gun. And that really sucks. Because she bought a little bitty 380 because she thought, well, I'm a woman and I need a little bitty gun, and 380 is definitely better. It is just simply not the case.
It's not.
Okay? It's not.
Simply not.
Anyway,
Charles.
we brought Charles over.
To explain.
Explain what's happening, not today, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, have at it, Charles.
We are starting our March Madness, although it's not called
What?
March
You
Madness.
can't say that!
Can't say that because it's copywritten by the NCAA. So we're doing a basket bonus instead. Now read this backwards. So,
Yes.
And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up 3 baskets. I'm French Canada-Dune.
Me too.
Anyways, 3 baskets. The 2 big baskets will be 15% off and free targets, 2 free targets if you hit them. If you hit the small basket, you get to spin the wheel.
If you actually put the ball through the basket, not just hit the basket.
No, you have to hit the basket. No,
Charles!
put it through. So,
You know how many people are going to come here and say, I hit it! And Charles said so. Charles lied to you.
Words matter.
We are going to, yes, it would be. We're going to put up here, Charles is a liar.
Poor Charles.
I'm also retiring today.
It's his last day.
He didn't know that when he came in this morning.
Okay.
You're such a good sport.
By the way, IWI, Phil showed you all their toys on the wall. They're not toys, they're actually firearms. IWI will be here on May 3rd and 4th.
Cool.
Giving presentations, and they're going to have a dealer day here, so keep that in mind. So,
That's
That'd be
neat.
awesome. Will they give me a multicam Zion? Black multicam Zion for free because I like it?
we will see.
What's on your list there? What's that say?
This is all backwards, but these are all the prizes that you can win if you spin the wheel. So you spin the wheel, and unlike Christmas, you won't be able to see what the prizes are. They'll
So
just
you
be
can't
basketballs.
cheat.
So you can't
cheaters.
cheat. And behind the little basketballs, there will be numbers, and the numbers will correspond to these particular prizes. They include 10% off of various firearms, free private lessons with Liz and Phil and Vinny, and maybe
And
some
Will.
other people, and Will, exactly. And then optics, suppressors, a free lane. You could win a free lane, Monday to Friday only. Gift cards. There's going to be a whole bunch of prizes.
Those are pretty
So,
decent.
Yep.
Yep, cool. That's
No,
exciting.
all sorts of cool stuff on there. Starting tomorrow. So come in tomorrow. You can. How many opportunities do they get each day?
1 shot for non-members, 2 shots for members.
Sweet. All right. So come in here tomorrow and throw baskets or throw balls at Charles' face.
I won't be here. We'll just put a picture of me up there.
Okay.
That works.
Off I go.
Thanks, Charles.
Bye, Charles.
Anyway.
There you go.
Anyway.
Anyway.
All right,
There's
so
that.
one more quick thing before we talk about red dots.
Okay.
Tuesday, the 4th.
You better freaking be here.
If you signed up, you better show up.
You.
You.
Get out of the way because you're gonna get mad at me.
Oh,
You.
you're gonna start pointing.
You. Be here.
It's the human trafficking and child exploitation seminar. So,
Yes. If you are signed up for it, show up. If you can't make it, that's fine. Let us know today.
we have a wait list, and we'd like to be able to fill the spots if it ends up getting to that. So,
Yeah. We don't want a repeat of the last couple events that we did like this, where we have a whole bunch of people show up and only a few very awesome people show up. So don't do that. Get here. If you're on a list. If you're not on a list, you could email us to get on the list if you'd like.
we're always have
Yes.
somebody to yell at,
Jeff Reale, of course.
even when it's not Belt Fed Monday, Phil.
I can find somebody. I got to yell at some people yesterday. It was fun.
All right, so what are we talking about?
We're
Red
gonna-
dots.
Red dots.
I put it in quotes because dots aren't always just red. And they're called lots of things. You can get a green dot,
Optics. What's
commonly called optics.
What do we hear people call them?
Lasers. I hear them called lasers all the time, which
I mean, they are a laser.
they are, but they
It's
just
just-
don't project on the target.
Yeah, they get stopped by the glass. Man, opticals. That's what I hear. I hear people call them.
What?
Can I get yes?
I've
You've
never
not heard
heard
that?
them called optical. That's
Opticals.
the best.
Pistol scope. That's another one.
Woo.
Right.
A scope.
Can I get opticals?
A scope is magnified. Like, that's like a definition of a
Definition?
scope. Yes? Does it have to be magnified in order to be deemed as
A scope?
yeah,
I don't know.
a beam? the dot.
Beams are that's
the laser,
The lasers.
but
actual
still.
lasers.
Okay, so this is a cert gun. So this is
It shoots lasers.
a beam gun. See it? But this has a red dot on it. I want to see if you can kind of see what's going on here. Gotta find the dot. Oh, there it
That's part
is.
of the troubles.
Hold on. This is really weird. You can probably see that green dot floating around up there just in front of the map. But essentially, you have this little window that mounts to your gun. Your gun has to be cut out here in order for this to mount to it in most cases. That's the most ideal way of mounting a dot. Some of them will mount into the rear sight dovetail. Those aren't as durable, rugged. I would not trust it to the extent that I would trust an actual slide mounted red dot. Some of them also have adapter plates that you have
Look
to
at
put in
this.
here.
It doesn't
Tension
even.
object.
It doesn't. The definition of scope doesn't even mention an optic.
Well, there's microscope, telescope,
Yeah.
endoscope. A telescope mounted on a firearm for use as a sight. So a telescope would be something that can see a tubular optical instrument for viewing distant objects by means of refraction of light rays through a lens or the reflection of light rays by a concave mirror. Magnifying. So it magnifies. So a scope magnifies.
But it's
Red dots
interesting that
do
they don't define it. It's definition,
Yeah.
I guess. Its real
The root word of it.
is telescope.
Huh.
That's weird.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry, squirrel.
I mean, but it is helpful for people to understand that typical pistol-mounted optics, pistol-mounted sights, or red dot sights, or green sights, whatever, they are not magnified. It's just a piece of glass. So you also don't see that laser on the target.
Correct. Very common misconception.
Yeah, there's a little laser that shines onto the window in here, and then you only see that reflection on the window. So the shooter's the only one that sees it. So kind of like what I just showed you. It's really tough to get that little dot in the window.
Well, so you got to think that's also what you have to do with your eyes, right?
Yes.
Which is one of the challenging things with a red dot, and why a lot of times when people, can I have that, please? When people first pick up one and they're trying to use it, whether it's they're borrowing somebody's on the range, they rented a gun from us that has one, and they push the gun out and they can't find it. And we've even seen people like literally just look through the window at the front sight and think that that's what they're supposed to be looking at and start shooting, and that's not it. Because if it's not lined up perfectly with your eyes, you can't see it. So when I push this out in front of me, and this has got a green dot in it, that green dot is directly in the middle of the window. All I have to do is move the pistol just a little bit. Now it's gone. It disappeared out of the top. Now it's back in the middle. It disappeared out of the bottom. Back in the middle, and so on. So very little movements and it disappears. And people think that, well, it's going to be so much slower and I can't find it, so it takes me forever to get my shot, which is true to begin with. That is a disadvantage. It seems to be a more complex learning curve. However,
But with all disadvantages, there is an advantage to be found. It's disadvantage. You have to think of the advantage there, which is you get to learn about your technique in order to find the dot.
Yes.
If you push the gun out in front of you and you can't find it, then what can you do to better ensure your ability to find it and more reliably find it? Work on your draw, work on your presentation, work on your grip. It makes you a better shooter, unequivocally.
yeah, without a doubt. Because what's awesome about this is if you just have iron sights on this, it doesn't matter how sloppily you push the gun out here. You can see that your sights aren't lined up and that the front of the gun needs to go this way, so you bloop, move the gun this way. And then the nose of the gun needs to go this way to get everything lined up. So you have no real incentive, outside of you being tested, timed on a clock or something. You have no real incentive to push the gun out and have it all lined up already. You just get it out there in front of you, and then you get it set up, then you start shooting. This will force you to have to get the dot to show up in front of your face more reliably, because it's not nearly as easy to find it. If it's not lined up, it takes a lot of moving around to find it. And people move their heads around. Don't move your head around. Keep your head still. Put the gun up in front of your eye. Find it that way. Sorry.
Or bring the gun back down and then push it back out again and try to do it better. So where you're driving the gun straight forward, There's a lot more
So,
complexities there.
Yeah,
We're not
I mean,
gonna get into that
typically when
today.
I'm teaching somebody, especially that's really struggling, I'll struggle, find a dot, okay, and I'll just have them just relax just a little bit, and then push it out, and relax a little bit, and push it out, and just build backwards from here. Okay, you can reliably start finding it here, come back a little bit further, and push it out, come back a little bit further, and push it out, and
I like
then
that.
then come all the way back to the ready position and push out. And what you start to see then is people push really hard, and then it's gone.
Gone.
Right? You still got to.
I'm an expert now.
Yeah, you got to be smooth. You got to be smooth with pushing the gun out to find the dot. You can do it aggressively and smoothly. If you do it super hard, super fast, it's really hard to get it to boing.
Too many of them in there.
I know.
It's
That's
your day off.
what
You can
makes
say whatever
it
you
worth
want.
it. That's right.
Okay, so with that in mind, what have you seen with students as far as like if they prefer it or not prefer it?
Like, are you saying you're a brand new shooter and I hand you one with or without?
So I guess let me rephrase. Let me give you my example, and then you can form your own question.
You still have a shark fin.
I know. That's my
No, stop moving.
no, you jerk. Dang it! Look, you got it all messed up. I did that on purpose. Anyway.
Anyway, so let's say I was. Yeah.
So what I've noticed is I have a student that either builds up anticipation of the shot based off of the laser dancing around, or the 3 focal planes of the iron sights, because it's confusing for their eyes and things like that. The dot seems to be more simple for trusting what you see. You don't have to question that there's a bright light right where you want the gun to go. That's easy to get. Once you find it, it's there, you trust it for the most part. There's obviously exceptions to all of this. Iron sights, you have 3 focal planes. You have a rear sight close to your face, a front sight, which is up at the front of the gun, and then you have the target. And so it gets confusing when you start closing both eyes or one of your eyes and things like that.
It's
leaving
really
both
confusing
eyes
when you
open.
close both eyes.
Very confusing.
Or not confusing at all. I don't know, depending on how you
People
look
are
at it.
very never mind. So I have noticed that it's a very personal preference as far as that goes. Now this is for a brand new shooter essentially, or a very new shooter. Once you get to the point where you're comfortable and confident shooting your gun, and the aiming part matters more, then I don't see that same sort of complexity or like the issues.
I think we had a student in class yesterday that could have significantly benefited from a dot.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
As he was struggling
Yeah.
with looking over the top of his gun and thinking, and we see this all the time, okay? Right, if there's not an optic on here and I'm looking through my iron, so everything's lined up right in front of my face, they'll bring the gun down this way and they're still looking at the sights and they think, okay, well the gun's oriented towards the target. It's pointed at the target, and that's how they shoot, is like this. Okay, instead of up here. When you have the light as a reminder, the laser that you're looking at in the window, the little dot that you're looking at, it is a huge reminder that needs to be on the target where you want to hit it. And I really think in his case, he was so target focused, that he was just orienting his gun towards the target and pulling the trigger. If he could have a dot on, I think it would have significantly helped him understand that the gun needs to be in front of his face. I mean, how many times? I know I probably told him 30 times, you gotta look through your sights. You gotta look through your sights. Oh yeah, and he'd get the reminder and bloop, he'd bring the gun up and do his thing. And then you started trying to help him and same thing. You gotta use your sights, And it also comes from a bad habit that a lot of people have of, boom, how was that one?
Oh,
Boom, how was that one? And then it turns into, boom, how was that one? And the gun stays here, boom. Oh, now I feel like I can see.
To my eye.
Yeah, that did? Dang, that was pretty good. It was reflection.
That was some Annie Oakley stuff.
Yes.
So and we've definitely seen that with many students. It's just that, like, I think that's one of those times where the complexities of 3 focal planes and just using them as measurement tools and all that stuff, it's just not the easiest way to do it. So, and that can be from different distance contacts or LASIK. I see that all the time. Well, this size for distance, this size for up close, and in the grand scheme of things, those little details to a new shooter don't matter. Like it does for their level of confidence in what they're seeing, which
Sure.
I think gets in their
brain.
Yeah, and then it's like I don't want to shoot this because I can't truly trust what I'm seeing, and I can understand that for sure.
So that was going to be my question with the optic, because we have students sometimes when they have the opportunity to shoot something with an optic, they say, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I very often think it's because they don't understand it. They just dismiss it, and it's hard to do because they can't see it unless it's lined up perfectly in front of their face. Again, with iron sights, it doesn't matter if they're lined up perfectly in front of you, down here, it doesn't matter. You can see them no matter where they are, so you know how to orient them with each other. And I think with that, it seems so complicated, they just say, I don't like it. That's my feeling anyway.
So if I have a student that will shoot iron sights versus a red dot, and like one after the other, and they seem to relax with one, or they anticipate more with the other. They're anticipating the shot. And shot anticipation comes from a variety of things.
Sure.
Recoil, noise, and then making sure that you catch that perfect side picture and all that sort of thing. So when I have a student that's going back and forth and they pick up the iron sights and they're like, okay, I like this, and then they pick up the red dot and they're like, even if they find it, you can see more of that wobble. And I think that drives some people crazy too, like the anticipation of it being perfectly still, because it's much more obvious with the dot because it's such a finite point, and you can see all the movement in your hands. And you have to, as a shooter, understand that that's never going to go away. Like you have some level of movement all the time.
Yep.
Some days it's better, some days it's worse. But to be able to operate through that, what sighting tool is going to make you feel more at ease with pressing your trigger smoothly? That's the point, is you need to press your trigger smoothly. The movement, as much as I say it's easy to just let it go, it's not that easy to just let it go. So
it's not, and there are some complications with the dot, and especially newer shooters, especially if they've heard stare at your front sight and that sort of thing, because they start staring at the dot. When you get lost in the dot, it's very easy to get lost in what's going on. I can't do the eyebrow thing.
you can't tell the focus.
No, I could see that.
Okay.
I saw you do the eyebrow thing, so I was going to try to do the eyebrow thing. I can't do that. Touch my face. Boop. Boop me right on the nose. All right. I don't know if that'll change or not, but
It's good.
I do think that that's something that happens to people, and especially if you get something like this. Let me change the dot on this.
Oh, you get to see the chaos that is trying to aim that over your shoulder. Oh my gosh, why is it doing that?
That's not what I want. It's because it's an apple and it's dumb. Freaking model
Camera
is
was
this?
looking
Oh,
for
it's a 407. I can't change it.
Dang it.
I can't do it on this gun either.
Failed. We don't have any. I'll go get one out of the. See if we have one with them.
I
Probably we don't.
I have. I mean, I've got one on my shotgun. Anyway, when they have Holosun has a circle and a dot. What we were looking at there was just a dot. I think that's a 6 MOA dot. We could talk about MOA and what the minute of angles, what it means, and what it represents size-wise and all that stuff another time. But Jan says, morning, I agree. Red dots help with both eyes open focusing. Yes, it definitely helps. When you understand it, again, it can be confusing to begin with, but Awesome. Thank you, man. Sure. So, this is a.
It's tricky, isn't it?
Where
You're
are
off
you?
of the camera. You're moving. Go back. this
Where's the
way.
camera at? Well, where's the camera at?
Oh, it's on your face.
I know that, but where is the camera? The camera's right there. Yeah. Okay. Damn it. No, I lost it again. Here, I'm going to look through the thing at the camera. There, that's the easy way to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, let me
So,
Oh, did you put it on the single dot?
no, it's
Oh,
just
really?
blurry.
I see. So you can't really.
You can't really
see
see it. But anyway, this has got a big circle in it, and if it's turned up really bright. Let's see if I can turn it up bright.
I mean, they're probably already getting that blooming effect because it's. I agree that red dots help with both eyes open focusing. Yeah. Still looks like a dot.
Yeah. So you can turn it up super bright. That's definitely the easy way to do it. Let's just look through the lens at the camera. You can turn it up super bright, and then you can't help but stare at it because it's this super bright light, and you can't see through it. Another thing people will do is turn it down super low, and then you are struggling to see it, and you get lost in it because it's so stinking bright or so dim that you're trying so hard to find it that you end up focusing on it. So there's definitely a
Balancing game.
a balancing game of understanding what it is, and they are hugely advantageous. We had a guy in class yesterday that spent a long time in law enforcement, and we got talking about dots the other day when he was in signing up for class, and he was like, "Oh, that's just it. They slow you down. There's no reason law enforcement should be going to it, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "You're wrong, dude. I mean, you are flat wrong." And I said, we could sit out here and have a discussion / argument about it all day long, and you will not prove to me that it's not a good option for law enforcement, because it truly allows you to stay target focused. You do have to understand it's still a tool you got to know how to use, but it allows you to stay target focused. That is not an easy thing to do, and it'd probably be really hard for him to do as somebody who probably still stares at his front sight. We don't even really teach stare at your front sight anymore for iron sights, right? It still comes up. People say it because they've heard it, but I kind of hesitate on this because it's at the very most basic level. I still think there's some value in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, because if you're trying to really help somebody understand, you're like, look at that thing, but also look at these two things and make sure everything's lined up.
So
It can be tough, but if you're going to really shoot an iron sight gun well, you can't stare at the front sight.
this book that I'm reading is the Practical Pistol Shooting, actually, by Brian Enos, I think. He's talking about like these 4 different sight pictures you can get, like focus on this, focus on that, focus on I mean, and it's depending on what you need to do. If you're transitioning, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's like, oh, you start with number 2 and then you go to number 4, and like my brain is not comprehending everything.
Oh, like number 2 is one level of focus or one style of focus, and number 4 is another style of focus.
Yeah, so imagine you're like, one of them is just like you're switching focus back and forth between the front sight with alignment on the back sight with the target, so that way you can ensure that your sights stay perfectly where they need to. And that's how I have shot for years and years and years. It's like, especially since I wasn't using both of my eyes because I did not have stereoscopic vision. I would only use one eye, so I would focus shift a lot. It would take a lot of time for my shots. But I think that there's still value there, because you also have to consider that if you are focused on the target and you're not perceiving the sights at all, especially for a new shooter, they might be dropping it down. Yeah, and so it's like, well, just stare at the target, but make sure you can see your sights in your periphery and they're lined up. And they're like, what?
That's complicated.
It is. It's very complicated.
And it's not complicated, but it sounds, because that sounds like an awful lot of things you're trying to do at one time.
Yeah. And if that's their goal, is to look at the target, well, now, and then Ben Stoker's like, the bullet's going to go where your eyes are looking. And it's like, Yes, but no. I that one I want to play with some more because maybe I'm not understanding the concept of the way he's explaining it because I've just been recently starting to listen to him, so I'm starting to learn his teaching style.
Ben knows nothing.
No, nothing at all.
Uh-huh.
But I'm curious because he's a very visual person,
Yeah.
which most instructors that I've listened to are very physical with their hands and everything. So I want to fill in that knowledge gap for myself. But
So the bullet's going to go where the eyes are looking is absolutely true, if everything else is done right. If your grip is right, and you're pressing your trigger correctly, and all that stuff. That's what's going to happen. Naturally, that's what's going to happen. But there's other stuff that goes into that, in my opinion. You know, if I stare at the bullseye on the target that's 15 yards away from me, and I have a crap grip on the gun, and I start gripping the trigger, just because I'm staring at that bullseye doesn't mean I'm going to hit it.
Sure, yeah.
Right? The other stuff, the other fundamental skills still have to be there. But if you get lost in your sights or lost in that dot, it's really easy to lose track of just what you're doing and just start slinging stuff. It's the same with transitions. When you go from spot to spot, there's a YouTube channel that I've been watching recently, Achilles Heel Tactical. Dude, I've never taken a class from him. I want to. I'm going to. They travel all over the place to take classes, or teach classes. I undoubtedly take classes as well. But I really like the way he teaches and just the way he articulates things and phenomenal shooter. All the trainers that I've seen on there, phenomenal shooters. And he said something that just seemed to make sense to me when talking about dots in your eyes and all that stuff, was relating it to computers. And you look at a button you want to click. You don't look for the mouse pointer and look, and follow the mouse pointer to the thing, and then boop, you look at the button and just drag the little cursor over and click the button. Break the shot, right? That's a great way to think about it. You look, when the dot shows up, the cursor shows up, you press the mouse button and you click the button.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. And then we overcomplicate it with freaking yanking on stuff or going way too slow or whatever.
Well, imagine I went in your office and changed your cursor speed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it messes you all up.
It
because
does.
You get used to.
You get used to it, yeah.
But that's the point. You
Yeah.
get used to it.
Yep.
You get used to it and you train it, and it becomes a natural thing. But it changes a little bit when you get a different gun in your hands. It's got a different angle to everything. I mean, and we're talking about really fine details
Yeah.
here.
I mean, I
It's not
screwed
to
up.
mean that you can't slow down and regardless of the gun you're shooting and get your hits, but instinctively, like pushing the gun out is going to be. Anyway, I'm going a little
Yeah.
off tangent.
Off tangent, yeah. But
What else is a dot good for?
looking cool.
Valid.
It's great for one-handed manipulations, racking the slide off of things, off of your belt or off of a wall or a barrel or whatever. It can also just be used as a leverage tool. Maybe you have some limited strength stuff. This is a great option. A quality dot mounted correctly on a quality mount. You're not going to rip the optic off of here, right? You're not going to hurt the thing. Use it. It's just something else you can hold on to rack the slide with your hands. Now, some are way better than others. This dot that I've been using recently from Crimson Trace. If you didn't watch the video, this is the wrong gun. Different. This is my other Shadow Systems gun. This has got the Hollow Sun 507 comp on it. My other Shadow Systems has got the Crimson Trace dot on it, and it has great big buttons on both sides, plus and minus. Okay, when I rack it, and they're like rubber, it like makes you want to grab them. Okay, so it feels solid in your hand when you grab it, but then you push the button. So sometimes, and there's no way to lock them out. So sometimes then I push the gun up, and it actually happened to me yesterday. I pushed the gun up and I couldn't find the dot. Well, the dot was there. It's just, it was super low. So I pushed the gun out in front of me. I'm like, why is my dot not there? And then I realized that it was just turned down super low.
Well, my RMR's got buttons on the side of it like that, but I've never pushed them before. Not that
Yeah,
I'm aware
well,
of. I mean, my dot's never.
This has got buttons on the side as well.
My
but-
RMR has bigger ones on the side, on each
On
side.
both sides?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, these I push a lot.
I want to play with your Crimson Trace in a little bit and see if they're similar to mine. Logistically, if you put a dot on your pistol, be sure your holster is cut for it. Most new ones are, but some, that's a good point.
That is something to consider. Actually, this dot. So my EDC holster is not a big deal. The vast majority of all modern holsters are cut to fit an optic. My
Level 3.
My Safari Land holster, I had to modify to fit this. I mean.
You had to make it work.
Yes. This optic has got a very big window, and it wouldn't fit in one of my Safari Land holsters. So I had to gently massage it until it cooperated with me, and now it'll fit in there. So that is definitely something you have to be aware of with optics.
But the ability to rack your slide without having to grab onto it is pretty big, because I actually had a student that, there was disfigurement in their hands where they couldn't grip it, and then they were able to just push against it and pull it back. So it was pretty awesome. You okay?
Nope.
You gonna make it?
Nope.
But
I don't even know. Who are you?
Oh, I don't know.
No. Are there any questions or anything that were in there?
I don't think so.
If you got questions, ask questions. Or make fun of Elizabeth's hair or something. Or my hair.
I fixed my shark fin.
I know.
What's the downside to the optic?
Maintenance. It's not a maintenance-free thing. You do have to change batteries every so often, some more than others. It's one of the potential downsides of the Crimson Trace dot that I've got is it does not have a great
battery life.
Well, it doesn't have a great advertised battery life, and usually the battery life is not close to what they, this gets 50,000 hours. Okay, well, it'll last you a year and a half, and then that's it if you carry it all the time. I think they say like this gets 7,000 hours. So I was very curious of how long it was going to last me, and
low.
That is super low. But I broke it before I wore the battery out. So
good job.
They sent another one, and I'm going to test it out. Although the last time I taught the class that I was teaching yesterday, I threw my gun on the ground, and that's what broke it.
A little more gentle.
I did not throw my gun on the ground yesterday. I set it down. So, Grandpa Rick, good morning.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for coming over here and sharing your
deliciousness,
eating your sweet
strudel,
treats.
the strudel. So that's a downside. Battery maintenance.
Zero.
Doing so. Oh, I was like, wait, that's not witness marked. It's on a red gun, on a cert gun, doesn't matter. You can have, if you can see, like the screws that are on the mount for that are witness marked, meaning that there's a line drawn on the screw and on the optic, so that I can look at it every so often to see if they're starting to loosen themselves up. Because let's face it, these are facing a ton of load. Okay, a ton of load of forces going backwards and forwards, and they can loosen up. And I had it happen to me in the middle of a high-level class because freaking Sig Sauer and all their infinite wisdom, sometime in the middle of a production run on a gun, changed the thread pitch on the screws that they use to mount optics, and we were using one thread pitch forever. And they changed it, and I went to a class, and as I'm shooting, I'm competing with somebody, and I like to win, and I freaking missed a target
You're
twice.
lying. Sig never changes anything.
I freaking missed a target twice at 25 yards, and that is not like me. Not that I'm some world-class shooter or anything, but that's not like me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized my dot was going... Yeah, that sucked. Anyway, that's a downside to them.
Good morning, Rince.
I have seen people's battery trays come out in class. This is definitely a screw for Hollow Sun that you want to check. It's really awesome that you don't have to take your optic off to replace a battery. That also means that the optic doesn't have to come off for the battery to fall out of the optic. So if you have to take the optic off to replace the battery, that sucks, sorta, except that the battery can't fall out of it. That's a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
I have to take mine off to replace the battery, but the battery lasts for so long. It's what, once I do it every year just to be on the safe
Just
side.
because.
But then put it back on and shoot your gun.
You shoot your gun, you check the zero.
Yeah.
It's most likely going to be fine anyway. That is something that's a downside. You do have to zero these, okay? I did a video not too long ago on the difference between bore sighting and zeroing. There is a very big difference.
Huge difference.
So often, people show up here with a dot on their gun that is not zeroed. Not zeroed at all. And you're going to find out today, right?
Yeah.
She's teaching Red Dot Concepts 1 today. And we will probably have somebody in the class whose gun is not zeroed that you will have to fix. So one of our requirements for the class is that you can hit a 1-inch square at 10 yards with 3 shots. And if you can't do it, then we end up doing it for you just to see, because we want to know if your gun is on or not, because that matters.
Yeah.
That matters. And if you just bought a gun out of the case and it has a red dot on it, it's not zeroed.
It's not zero.
Might you be super lucky? When I put my replacement Crimson Trace dot on my other gun, I put it on, I moved it like a couple of clicks one way or the other. And it was real. For probably anybody else, they would have left it.
Yeah.
Because it was so close at 10 yards.
Workman says, I had a dot fly off a Glock MOS on recoil during a qualification. That was a fun one. I too had that happen.
Yeah, Liz had a nice little mark on her forehead
It was
from
a big old goose
Yeah.
egg. That thing flew off and hit me in the forehead. Glock's MOS mounting system sucks.
It's not great.
Don't use their plates.
Yep. Get an aftermarket plate. And yeah, does that suck? You spend whatever, $700, $800 on a gun, and then you got to spend an extra $50 on a plate that the gun supposedly comes with. And I truly believe this, that if you do everything perfectly right, it'll be okay. All right. However, if there's anything that's off a little bit, it's just not a good mounting system. Some screws are too long by millimeters, so you can't even really tell, but then it pushes the plate around. It's just, I am not a fan.
Or it flexes the plate. It's so small you can't even see it. That is a precision measurement tool.
Yes.
You don't want stuff like, I mean, we're not shooting super long distance here in most cases, but I still want my gun to be accurate.
Yes.
So.
And that is one other downside to dots, is you got to sometimes know what dots work with your gun. Okay, so Shadow Systems, for instance, has a direct mount system, which is, in my opinion, and who am I, right? But in my opinion, is the best one out there. It's freaking awesome. You can use gigantic screws that go way down here, lots of thread contact. It's an awesome mounting system. Anyway, you still got to know, like, you can't just grab any dot and put on here. You still got to know what will fit with their mounting system. You got to know what optic, this becomes a little bit more complicated with some of the smaller guns because, there's so many options for dot, but you got to make sure you get a small dot to fit on a small gun. As for instance, I couldn't put this on my 365 XL. It would be kind of funny looking, but so that is a downside, and we've had that happen where somebody buys a gun and they go online and buy a dot somewhere. It's not the right one for their gun.
Yes, the aftermarket adapter plates, some of them are good, not all of them. I've actually been hearing a little bad things about C&H.
I have too. C&H was a go-to for a long time, and sometimes this happens, right? When you get popular, and all of a sudden you get busier than you can really handle, you start saying, "Oh, we got this nailed down," and you start, rushing stuff out, and you start having quality control issues, and you end up getting a bad batch of metal or something. C&H was a go-to recommendation for me for a very long time for Glocks, and I have also heard some not great stuff lately.
I'm trying to think of the one that I heard Ben recommend the other day. It was really good. I want to say it started with an A or something, but I can't. It's a weird name. It's like I don't remember. So, yeah, I don't know.
So that's really it to me for downsides. Maintenance, you do have to be a little bit more careful when you're cleaning your gun and stuff. You don't want to dump a bunch of, you dump oil all over the emitter, right, where it shoots the laser beam out. You don't want to spill a bunch of gunk inside of there.
You mean that's not a port to squeeze oil in?
On your gun it is.
Like the weep holes?
The weep holes, yes.
What's it say? Any thoughts on red dots made by Oli? I want to try the Oli one. On Amazon, I'd refrain from buying dots off of Amazon.
Oh, that'd be tough.
Or do
Right?
you
Olight
avoid
sells
all
a lot of their
Amazon
stuff on
rip-off
Amazon.
offers?
I think that
I've heard some good things. Yeah, that's true. I guess Olight does have a store. Amazon blows my mind. But we're not going to get into that. So, I mean, if it's a true... I know for a while, like when EOTechs and stuff were really popular, you could always run into the risk of getting like a fake one.
Fake one, yeah.
I don't know. I've never bought a dot off of Amazon, so I don't know. I have bought a couple other things from Amazon recently for my belt or something, and they've worked out pretty well. So I'm not going to say it's not possible.
Yeah.
But I would like to try Olight's. I think it's called the O-Site.
Yeah,
I would like
O-Site.
to try it.
I actually just watched a video on it the other day, and it looks very promising.
Yeah.
And I think Olight in general makes good stuff. You know, it's a very common battle between her and I that Olight's garbage.
It's gonna blow up.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up in your mouth, which happened. But don't chew on your red dot, and you'll be okay. I have little doubt that the technology has gotten so available, and somebody like Olight. I mean, it's just like Crimson Trace. You know, they make lasers for guns. I'm not a fan of that. All this is a laser that just bounces off a piece of glass. So I thought, what the hell? Why not try it? Now I did break it pretty damn fast. You know, within a couple of months.
With
But
not a lot of...
yeah, but I did beat it up a lot beforehand. I rack it. I mean, my guns are tools to me, and they get smashed off of things and whatever. And in this case, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that it hit the concrete, because it was on concrete that I dropped my gun.
Is the price significantly lower though? Because in order to accept that sacrifice of reliability from duty-driven type of manipulation, the price has to match that.
Yeah, and it is I think a well priced for the options. Okay, I really do, and I think for most people they're not going to break it that way. I mean, I watched a Hollow Sun get broken the same way, not from somebody purposely dropping it, but from accidentally dropping it on concrete. But it actually landed this way on it. In mine, it kind of looked like it hit at the edge, and the Crimson Trace dot is a little bit more squared off like this one. So it kind of looked like it happened to land right on the edge, and the glass was broken at an angle. So I don't know. We'll see how it lasts. I'm going to shoot it next week or whenever.
My RMR is a tank.
Oh yeah, and there's
for years, and it's gone through a lot of abuse.
There's no denying that.
But it costs way.
Yes, it's expensive.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. It's made in the USA. But I've bought a Hollow Sun since then, and if I had the extra cash to buy a Trigagon, the new HD, I would definitely do so. I just don't know that it's worth the money for me to buy it again. But Rit said he's tried to stay away from anything that isn't a direct mount, but he wants a closed emitter, so he's going to give in.
So on what gun? Because I have a closed emitter dot on my SIG 365 that is a direct mount. If I had now this is with Shadow Systems mount, but if I had done the full size EPS on this, it does have a plate, but it's not a plate like you typically see. It's really just a spacer. So on Shadow Systems, they give you a selection of different spacers to fit different size optics. So sometimes they go in the rear like this. On my other Shadow Systems with the Crimson Trace, it's got a different size spacer in the front. If I had gone on this gun with the EPS carry, it has a plate that has a spacer on the front and the back. Okay, so it's not a plate that the optic mounts to, it's a plate that the optic sits on, and the screws still go through it and way down into the slide. So it is still, I would consider a direct mount.
Yeah, if it's the plate that you have to secure first and then the dot to the plate, I think that's where it becomes complicated.
Yeah. So on the Glock, that's definitely tough, Ritz.
I guess that EPS thing doesn't come enclosed at all. That's the direct mount one.
Did I say EPS? No, EPS is the direct, or is the enclosed.
What's the one that
SCS.
is SCS? But then what's that aim point thing?
Now, so that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole gun and dot system.
Yeah, that's a whole different mount system. I'm not a fan, and I
haven't looked into it enough.
We sell them. We sell them. My sister's got one on her gun.
Does the direct mount block the front? brightness sensor.
Does what direct mount block the front brightness sensor? Workman said that. No. Well, I don't even know where it is on this one.
Yeah, where's the bright? I don't know that I've ever really looked for it.
I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe.
Educate us, Workman.
Yeah, I don't know where it is on this optic. On my Crimson Trace, it does not, and it's direct mount. You know what? You just keep talking. I'm gonna go get my other gun. I'll be back.
I was going to ask you about your sister's gun, though.
Okay, well, we can talk about that too. You can talk about something else. I'll be back.
Great. So some other things to consider is getting it mounted. If you buy your gun and your dot from us, which is another part of the downside to getting a dot is they cost extra money. Buying the day of you're buying your gun, you get 10% off if you buy it from here. We'll take it in the back, bore sight it for you. But one thing that you want to do is make sure that it gets mounted correctly. Earlier when we were talking about the dot flying off, the plates obviously add a complication to that as well. But if you don't torque them down correctly, you don't use Loctite, you don't give it its full 24 hours to let the Loctite set and things like that, then you'll run into complications as far as reliability goes. So make sure it gets mounted correctly. It needs to have Loctite on the screws. They need to be torqued down to the proper torque setting, which I think is like 14 inch-pounds or something, depending on the dot and the gun, I believe. I don't mount red dots, so I let Vinny or somebody else do
we
it.
have a
but,
Vinny.
Yeah, we have a Vinny. But make sure it's done right, and then let it sit 24 hours before you shoot it, just to make sure.
Torque. Use a freaking
Torque
it to the correct
absolutely.
specs.
Don't just crank on it and
Yes.
hope for the best.
That
Because
is-
you can make that metal flex,
Yep.
and then it's doing the opposite of what you need it to do. Like I said, precision tool and torque is very important when it comes to those specifications. So
I am
Don't cut those
I am a
corners.
proponent of calibrated elbows when I'm working on my car and stuff like that. Right?
elbows.
Yeah, it says 15 foot-pounds. Click. Okay, I'm good. I got a calibrated elbow. But when it comes to something like this, I'm getting out the torque wrench and I'm making sure that I do it to factory specs, because you don't want to fatigue the metal of the screw. You don't want to fatigue the metal of the optic and so on. So anyway, this dot has got, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but there's a little light sensor in the front, and it's direct mounted in the spacer. If you can see it there, there's a spacer in the front of this as well. So you can still see the little light sensor.
I want to see it.
I think it's dumb. It doesn't work for me. I think that if you're outdoors and it's a difference between cloud cover and clear, I think that the auto light sensing and that sort of thing works pretty good. But for going in and out of light, dark areas and all that stuff, it just doesn't freaking work.
Yeah,
And we have problems with it in our bay, where in some spot you're standing underneath of a light, and in other spots you're in the dark and the targets are in the light, and it doesn't do well.
Whenever we put those new lights in there, people were like, "Holy
Holy
crap, my
crap.
dot is not."
Yeah,
because everybody
yeah.
was on it like
Yeah, Alex went in there and replaced a whole bunch of lights and added lights and stuff, and you can see in there now. That's for darn sure. But tighter is more gooder, always.
Don't flex the man.
So what were you gonna ask me about my sister's dot?
You said she put some dot on her gun. So I was
SCS. I don't like
okay,
it.
so that's the enclosed one, right?
Yeah, that's the one that you can't. No, not the enclosed one.
Oh, the
That's what-
SCS is the
direct mount to the MLS.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
I don't like it, and I apologize if I'm misremembering, but I don't think you can adjust the brightness. I think it's only auto brightness. I think.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
And I just didn't. I'm pretty sure that's what the big thing was.
I definitely
They don't have a replaceable battery, which is kind of cool. It's supposed to last 10 years or something crazy. But we'll see what happens, and then you just take it off and throw it away and buy another one.
That's crazy. I don't know that I could bring my how can you just throw it away like that?
Like you hope maybe in 10 years they'll have a refurbished program or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to see how long they actually last. Are they going to actually last 5 years? If it was on a gun you carried every single day.
What are they based off of? Like what brightness? Is
Well,
people
I'm sure
carrying
it's-
them all the time? Like
Yeah,
how many hours?
no,
are being
I'm
carried?
sure it's they get used once a month and they're on the middle brightness.
No.
You know.
No.
or they're on like one bump up from the lowest brightness or something.
Yeah.
But who knows? I have no idea. I just didn't like it. Now it's kind of cool because it sits really low, so you can co-witness with regular sights and all that sort of thing. That's a bonus if you think you need it. I don't really even care about the irons. Yes.
Okay, so this question comes up a lot. Why don't the irons and the dot line up?
Because they don't.
I want to hear your articulation of that.
Just simply because so what she means is like if we got so many guns laying around here. If I just mount this dot on my gun and I'm trying to zero it, why don't I just look through the window and turn the dials until I can move the dot so it covers up my front sight, because then it'll be perfect? No, it doesn't work that way. Because if it worked that way, you wouldn't need a dot and you wouldn't need a rear sight. You just have a front sight on your gun, and then that's all that would matter. You got to understand that you're looking at this differently. You're looking at it at a different angle than the sights. And this could be set on here and be a little askew. Maybe the threaded holes are a half a degree off this way or that way, so it angles the optic. There's all sorts of little bitty reasons why those two may not line up. They also might line up. Is it terrible if I can see through my, I can co-witness my sights here. So if I can see through there, my dot is pretty well aligned with my front sight, but it's also sitting over the top of it about this far. So,
They're two different focal, two different levels.
You're looking at them differently. So,
the dot
could I
is
get it
higher?
If I didn't have a way of bore sighting? Is that a decent way to try to be on paper at 5 or 7 yards? Sure, it's going to get you on paper, but it's not going to be zeroed.
So let's just clarify what you're saying for real quick, because there's two different thoughts on getting your red dot to. So first off, if your dot is zeroed correctly, it should be in. You zero it when it's in the middle of the window. That doesn't mean that the dot has to be in the middle of the window when you shoot it. It's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
However, if you line up the dot with just your front sight, you are
moving the gun around to make that happen.
moving the gun. You're creating a different angle. See how the rear sight and the front sight are the same level, the same height. The dot should be higher, and so you're looking at it. Your gun would be essentially aiming upward, right? Yeah, to match this. That's going to not work correctly. But then there's also people who line up the dot, so sink the dot way down into the window to where it does line up with both of your sights. Is that a bad zero? No, it's an accurate zero, but it is not allowing you to use the dot the way it's supposed to. Because if you can sink
I don't know. However you said that just confused me. Is it a bad zero? Yes.
it's a bad idea. But it's still an accurate.
Is it going to be relatively accurate for a? It's okay. Relatively accurate for a bore sight? Yes. To get you on paper. Okay.
Right.
If you mount the dot up and you want to look through it, just twist left, right, up, down, and get it somewhat lined up with your front sight so that you can go down and shoot it and then confirm zero, like shoot 3 shots at 10 yards and okay, I need to come. I hardly ever even measure clicks because you're shooting so close and they are such gross adjustments. I just go, rant. I turn it, 45 degrees or 90 degrees, right? I don't know how many clicks that is, but let's just say I'm going to go 90 and 90. And I'm going to shoot 3 more rounds. Like, that was a little bit too much. And I back it off a little bit. And I just do that until I'm three shots in a 1-inch square at 10 yards.
Why do you shoot 3 shots?
To make sure that either A, if I just do 1 shot and it's good, was that because I screwed up?
Right.
Is that an anomaly? Or B, if I do that and I do screw it up, if I'm aiming at a 1-inch square and I hit low left, okay, I don't want to start making adjustments because maybe I shanked it. That
you want a pattern.
Absolutely happens. Yeah, you want to see the pattern, which is also why we hate when people are aiming at this thing, bloop, and then they're hitting down here, so they start aiming up here. Right? Don't do that because all of a sudden we think you fixed whatever the problem is and you didn't.
Right.
You're making it worse, truthfully.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gordon, I think that's kind of the
Yeah, it could be a starting point.
Don't
yes,
leave it
a
like
bore
that.
site.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people get them lined up, and they say that's good, and they leave it. And now their shooting abilities. Let's just say you're shooting at an A zone, right, on a target. Their shooting abilities might fill up that A zone, okay, at 7 yards. So with bang, 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 shot every second, one shot a second. Pretty slow shooting, okay? Their own shooting abilities might use up all that space. So they think their gun's good because they're still keeping them in the A zone. But then if they could actually shoot it with precision, and they're aiming here, they're going to be hitting here or here or here. But because their skills aren't good enough, they don't realize that their zero is, their gun's not truly zeroed.
The dot will make you a better shooter.
It will.
If you let it. If you
Yep.
just use it as a crutch, then it won't.
Correct.
It'll actually frustrate you, or you'll be one of the people that are like, well, I don't like dots. But if you can lean into the issues that arise from using it, and you can see where you need to work on, I promise, if you stick with it, it will make you a better shooter.
Yeah.
And I think that's my favorite thing about it, is how much it can tell you about your shooting. And not even just your shooting, just your application, your technique.
Be open to doing it. I mean, be
Yeah.
open to trying it, and just like anything, maybe you don't like it for whatever your reasons are, but don't make it be because it's difficult. Put in the effort, you will be better for it. I truly believe that, which sometimes means you got to train. I mean, it's just now
Who would've
people
thought
are like,
that?
oh, you're telling us all this to buy classes from us. Absolutely not. Do I want you to come train with us? For sure. Right? I tell people every day. Like I don't care if you train with us. I want you to. I want people to come and do classes with us. I don't care if you train with us. Train with somebody. I don't care if you come in, and how many of our students are like, yeah, I went and took a class with this guy or that guy. Awesome.
Heck
Right?
yeah.
Whether they're local or they travel somewhere to go hit one of these bigger name instructors or whatever, freaking do it. Learn stuff, man. I mean, you gotta be open to that. And you got to be open to pushing yourself. We had a conversation with some people yesterday in class about a qualification that we were running at the end of our class. That's difficult, and most of them failed. Right? Most of them failed because it's a tough qual. And the guy was like, well, "That's just not fair. You make it so hard." Well, life isn't fair.
Right.
And this is based around law enforcement interaction with a firearm. You got to be good with it. I just watched.
You know,
Oh man, did you? Probably not, because I think it just came out early this morning or late last night. But active self-protection and the soup sandwich that was the LAPD.
nope, not yet.
So big story condensed down. Bad guy is pointing a gun at two good guys, right? Holding them up. Bad guy looks over his shoulder. Good guys jump on him and start kicking the crap out of him. Okay, so bad guy's got a gun, some goofy freaking AK-22 thing. That's weird. Anyway, they start kicking the crap out of him. Well, the cops just happen to roll by and see a fight, and so they come running up there and yelling what's going on. And the good guy's trying to, he's got a gun, and the cop is, I love you guys, I do,
watch.
but sometimes, man. And he's trying to do too many things at once, and he's trying to talk on his radio while his gun's out, and he ends up shooting a good guy.
Oh no.
Yeah. Now, thankfully, then it turns into a big shit show. After that, they everything gets calmed down. Okay, a good guy got shot in the forearm. Then the cops try to put a tourniquet on him.
I'm sure that's even. Do you need
They
an arm?
tried to tie it in a knot.
Oh,
Like, took the tourniquet apart, whoop, took it all the way apart, threaded it back through, started to pull it tight, and then just started with the extra of it, just started wrapping it around and tried to tie it in a knot. Tried to move the windlass out of the way so that he could tie it in a
Get
knot.
tighter.
What?
Oh man,
So,
do better.
yes, that's training.
So this question, does proficiency with a dot make you a better shot with irons? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because it
I-
makes your overall technique better.
Yep.
Absolutely. And which I was going to ask you this just real quick so we can wrap it up. But everybody wants to start with iron, not everybody, but many people want to start with irons. It's like, well, I should learn how to shoot irons first before I go to the red dot, or vice versa.
Sure.
Mostly it's irons to red dot.
Yeah.
I don't think that is even,
I
don't think
was-
that's necessary at all.
I was 100% guilty of saying that for years with rifles. Okay, even my twins, who are 16 now, when they first got their rifles when they turned 6, I made them shoot their guns for a year without putting a dot on it, and then I put a dot. I thought it's important for them to understand that. Then my youngest, who just turned 12, when he got his rifle, I just put a dot on it. Bloop. It's like, okay, it doesn't make that's the way that everybody shoots rifles. With handguns, I was still very much like that for a while. Like, you just shoot with irons, get used to that, then add the complication of the dot. I am 100% not that anymore. For the last 2 years or so, if you can afford it, here's what I tell everybody: buy a gun. If you're going to go out there today and buy a gun that has the ability to put a dot on it. If you can't afford the dot right now, that's fine. You don't want the dot right now, that's fine. But buy one that has the ability to put a dot on it, so that in 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, when you decide that you want to put one of those fancy dancy things on it, you have the ability to.
I think the beginning steps of shooting a gun, and if you're a new gun owner, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
If you're just starting getting shooting guns, the whole beginning part of shooting guns is inoculation and learning your grip and trigger pull. Like, the aiming is the least important part on that totem pole. So once you get that other stuff, then the aiming starts to matter, and then then you can easier conceptualize your aiming tool, and it'll be a better decision either way. So,
I think that if you can afford to buy both, buy the gun and the dot, do it. That's, in my opinion, that's the best way to do it. It really is. And if the gun can't take a dot, don't buy it. Don't buy it. My opinion, anyway. Now, we're talking new gun owner trying to learn a tool as a self-defense type of thing and want to truly learn it. Yes. If it's, hey, I just am looking for a 22 to go plinking with my friends, do I think that it needs to have a dot? No, I don't think that it needs to have a dot. Is that still advantageous and fun and stuff and makes it easier for everybody else? Yeah. If it's a gun you want because you're a collector and you have always wanted this thing, that's fine. You've got your other tools that are real tools, and this is a tool to look good and show off with. And who cares about that? But if it's an actual tool for use, put a dot on it.
good.
Do it. All right, what else you got?
Is it easier to shoot distance with a red dot? Like,
I think so. I mean, what's distance?
we'll just say 25 yards.
Yes.
That's what we got. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to see more of your target and all that stuff.
Yeah, because if you truly focus on your front sights, and your camera is stupid.
I know. It's because I keep getting out of the...
If you're truly looking at your front sight at 25 yards, you can't see shit.
Your sights just take up the whole target.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and it's so much easier to shoot with a dot.
Dim out your red dot. You probably... This doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
people. Like, there's a little button on the side.
Push
You
the button. Push the button.
You can make it dimmer so you can actually see through it, and it's quite nice. And it's a much smaller thing. So anyway,
They're vacuuming. Great.
vacuum louder.
Yes, please. Dang it! I had something else I was going to say, and I don't remember now. I'm sure it wasn't very important anyway. All right. Well, I guess that's all we got to say about that.
That's all we got to say about that.
So no, we got to finish up a couple things. One, next week, Tuesday is the free clinic. I really think that happens because of these things. I
think
really
so?
do. I do. Because you did it a couple of times in early. See,
So are we like giving our...
I don't understand.
Can you guys see the little
Did you see a big thumbs up? Not our thumb, but a
little
generated thumbs up. Because earlier when you were talking about sites, you did that, and
It's not doing it now, of course.
Anyway, it's because
Maybe
we
it's like,
over thumbed up
shut
ourselves.
Anyway, Tuesday,
the
trafficking seminar.
trafficking and sexual exploitation of children seminar is next week, Tuesday. We have 60 something people signed up for it. You better freaking be here. If you're signed up for it, you better be here. If you cannot make it, email us, training@therangestl.com. Let us know, hey, man, sorry, my kid's getting married that day, and I tried to skip it. My wife said no. Let us know. Don't just not show up. Because we have people on a wait list. We would love to get people in here that want to be here, not jerk faces that are going to pretend to want to be here and not show up.
I can't show up on Tuesday. I got a headache. I'm going to be sick.
So make sure you're here. If you can't, send us an email. Maybe we'll send one out today to everybody reminding them that they have an obligation next week, Tuesday. The whatever we're calling it, the not March Madness stuff starts tomorrow. You can come in and throw balls at Charles and sorry, I just wanted to say that. And win some cool stuff, get some discounts, maybe a free private lesson or something. All free private lessons go through Liz, for sure. And
I'm sure a free hug from Phil is on there too.
Always. Always. Free hugs for me are always a thing. I think that's it.
Okay.
Don't we have something else going on? Me and you are leaving. We're going out of town. We're going training. Oh, look at that. How crazy is that?
Oh, it's going to be glorious. 50 hours.
Yes. It's going to be
of
awesome.
Gun training.
Yeah, we're going for a week and doing some shooting and learning. You know, we're students all the time, just like you guys. Even when we're teaching, we're learning.
I learn something every single class.
Absolutely. And I'm excited. I'm excited too. We've got a couple of awesome classes obviously we have our own awesome classes all the time, but we have a couple of awesome trainers coming in this year as well. We have Adam Winch with Defenders USA and Scott Jedlinski with Modern Samurai Project coming this year.
I'm so excited. This year's going to be
we're doing Scott's 3-day appendix course, which is, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So I think that about does it.
I can't wait to learn the dry fire stuff from Adam and then
yeah.
I
don't know if we're going to be here though. I don't know.
We
moved it. That's right. Never mind. We will be here.
God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. It's awesome. We have ILETA coming up here in a couple of weeks, which is a law enforcement trainers thing. They'll be using our range for some live fire stuff, which is awesome. Me and you will be downtown attending classes and presenting this year, so I'm excited to present at the conference.
If you're a law enforcement trainer and you don't know about ILETA, reach out. We're happy to share the info with you. But
you should attend if you're a trainer.
Absolutely.
The actual classes are for trainers. They do have a 2.5 day Expo, thank you. That's open to anybody with a badge. Okay, so if you have a badge, you can show. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go down there and you can talk to vendors from all sorts of different stuff. You know, it might be ASP, it might be a Target manufacturer, it might be
all kinds of stuff.
Triumph Systems, local company here that builds the
firearms manufacturers.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff down there. It's an awesome show to go to. Again, it's at Union Station. If you've got a badge, show up. Look up ILETA, ILEETA, and go to the show and check it out. Just go walk around, shake hands with people. If you're a trainer, I'm sure you can still sign up for it. Become a member, sign up for the conference. Whatever the conference costs, a couple of $100, it's way worth it for all the training you get.
Way worth it.
Way worth it. It's freaking awesome. So anyway, we have that coming up in March as well that we're all three gone for that. So
we're busy.
It's crazy. So 14803 Manchester Road in beautiful Baldwin, Missouri. 10 to 8 Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 6. If you need something, come see us. Just come hang out, drink coffee, and pat Liz on the head and say sweet fried chicken. No, you gotta do that to Rob because today's Rob's last day.
Today's Rob's last day.
Today's Rob's last day. We'll cry.
Okay.
Okay, awkwardly cry.
Bye.